So, hello there everyone and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time for me to welcome you to what I can only imagine is going to be an absolute mammoth episode of AFC Wimbledon career mode here, the Road to Glory on FIFA 19. So, sit back, relax, get some food, get some snacks, get some sustenance and hydration of some kind, because you're in it for the long haul, folks. As you may be aware, as I said at the end of last episode, this is going to contain the entirety of Season 3 until we get to the Premier League. And obviously if it takes longer than that, then it's going to be a very long episode, and we're going to be here until we get to the Premier League. But I'm hoping we should be able to do this in one season. The reason for that is, well, realistically, I don't think I have time to do an entire Championship season again, and an entire Premier League season, you know, one at least, and then potentially more than one before FIFA 19 comes out. It just isn't going to happen. I at least want to have one Premier League season. So it's gonna contain several different parts. First of all, we're going to take a little bit of a look back at Season 2. Then we're going to have the transfer window, pre-season. We'll sim through the majority of the games in the actual season, but you'll also see some played games in ones that I know we're not going to win, and if we need to win a game, then I'll try and play it and hopefully win. As I mentioned though, I wanted to take you guys through a little bit of a look at how the team are done overall across the season. So first of all, you're going to take a little bit of a look at the stats. In terms of appearances wise, Lyle Taylor, Oshalaja and Nzuzi Toko played the most games across the season. All of those guys playing 54 games overall. Joel Azoro playing 53, De Silva Lopez with 52, and Harvey Barnes, who of course will return to Leicester now after his loan spell with us, the only other player to play 50 or more. In terms of goals, your top scorer across the season was Lyle Taylor in all competitions, grabbing 17. Joel Azoro got only 14 in comparison to his Montserrat teammate. De Silva Lopez as well with a very good tally, getting 12 in all competitions, 11 of those in the Championship, making him the second joint top goal scorer in the league. And then in terms of assists, you can see Joel Azoro and Dozel with the most amount of those in all competitions, grabbing 10, then Lyle Taylor and De Silva Lopez with 7. Now this is one thing that obviously is going to have a big bearing on our next season, and that is the prize money, and we've got £7.4 million on top of the money we have now and the money that we accumulated from cup competition, which I think was a further 1.5, and then you add that to pre-season tournaments, we could be looking at double figures in terms of millions. So, and I know I showed you guys some of the stats of our team and all that sort of jazz, but here is how the overall championship standings looked in terms of top scorers. Kazri gets the golden boot with 20, header Tom Ince and Halzinho joint on 19, both for Huddersfield Town. Our top goal scorer, Lyle Taylor, grabbed 13, and he was 11th place overall. And we also see De Silva Lopez and Joel Azoro in the top 25. So assists-wise, Andre Dozel actually got top of that with 10, and Joel Azoro managed to grab 9. So 2 of our players in the top 3, and then another further one in the top 15. As you can see, Lyle Taylor down there as well. De Silva Lopez even manages to sneak into the top 20. And in terms of clean sheets, well, it was a disappointing season for us overall. It was a disappointing season, generally speaking, for Christian Walton, who I think will survive this next year purely because of I don't think we'll have enough money to replace him, and we can train him to a good enough level for the Championship. But I think once we reach the Premier League, he might be on his way out the door. He grabbed only one more clean sheet than Roy Carroll, having played at least double the games of the Northern Irish International. Just about to offer the final guy some new contracts, and it seems as if Roy Carroll is going to be retiring. He's been a great servant for the side, honestly. Obviously, he was at the club for a season and a half. We brought him in January in Season 1 whilst in League 1, and genuinely he's been a very, very good player. So, good luck in your retirement, Roy. We will miss you. Now, this disappoints me, because I'm now going to have to do what I did in Season 2. We earned £7.5 million in prize money in Season number 2, and we've been given £3.4 million to spend in terms of that's just ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Everyone always says, oh yeah, you just get the money next season. Honestly, the financial system on this game is so flawed this year. We've got less than half what we earned for finishing 7th place. How is that fair? So what I'm going to have to do is, the game's cheated me, so I'm going to cheat the game. I'm going to use a financial takeover to give us what we're earned, what we're owed even. Pre-season tournament-wise, we've actually got some very decent prize money on the table. Now, this is the most difficult one and doesn't have much prize money, so we won't be choosing that one. The prize money over here is pretty low, so we might as well go for this one. So as you can see, Scott McTominay and Harvey Barnes have gone back from their loan deals, and we've now got Tokmak Cholton Goyen, who's come in from Bristol Rovers. I'll show you him in a moment. He's arrived on a pre-contract. Right, so I've altered the budget allocation after we were frauded out of about £7 million. We've brought in we did a financial takeover, brought in a random player for over the odds and then released them, and now we have the correct amount of money, in my opinion, to embark on the championship season that we actually deserve. So you saw earlier that we were able to welcome in a new pre-contract agreement signing, and as you can see here is that man. It is Tokmak Chol Nguyen, who we brought in from Bristol Rovers. He actually signed for Bristol Rovers from a Norwegian side. His contract was expiring, so we brought him in for free. He can play on both wings. He's 68 overall, and if we take a little look at his attributes over here, you can see he's extremely pacey, very agile, and he's got good balance and stamina as well. Fortunately, not really the strongest, but he's also got good dribbling attributes as well. So as you can see, we've now got a new transfer list in terms of the players that I'm hoping to sell in this window. You can see I'd spoke about him a couple of times in this episode so far, but Rory McKenzie is one that is on the transfer list. We brought him in for free. If we could sell him for a decent profit, that would be very good, because unfortunately he is a player that is just all pace and not much product, to be honest with you. Almost immediately we get an offer from QPR for the Scotsman, Rory McKenzie. So we're going to take a look at this one. So submitted 1.4 and they've decided to match that one, so clearly 1.1 wasn't their final offer after all, as the representative said. So now QPR can negotiate with Rory McKenzie and we can try and bring in some extra funds. So as you can see, Rory McKenzie has decided to leave for Queen's Park Rangers for £1.4 million. Expected a little bit more than that in terms of being allocated. We've only got 950k. So as you can see, as far as pre-season is concerned, we actually managed to get through into the semi-finals. Like, no dodgy dealings. We actually did it just off pure merit. I mean, maybe the other teams were putting in weakened sides, but we managed to draw against Nürnberg. We beat Hernenveen 2-0, and then we beat Mulder, I think it was, 2-0 as well. And Nguyen got his first goal for the club. Now, though, heading into the semi-finals of the pre-season tournament, we're up against Malmo, and we've won once again. And yet again, it's another goal for Nguyen, but again, another injury, this time for Dozel. Now, big news. Andre Dozel is out for 4 months after that pre-season game. This obviously is the risk you run by trying to win pre-season, as you do get these injuries. Bolger is now out until the start of the season, and Dozel is probably out till October, realistically, so we are definitely in need of a centre mid now. However, we have at least gained £1.1 million in transfer kitty from the pre-season tournament, as well as an extra 100k for Nikola Tsarnev. This, though, is now the final of the pre-season tournament. As you can see, we're facing a side that we actually faced in the group stages, which is Nürnberg, definitely the best side in this one, and unfortunately they do go on to win with an 85th minute goal from Valentini. So we're now going to try and go in for our first signing of this new season, and we're meeting up, as you can see, with the lovely bald-headed Pep Guardiola of Manchester City to talk about the man in the top left of the screen, Bersant Chelina. I was doing a little bit of scouting about free agents and players who are on the loan list, and surprisingly this guy at 74 overall was on the loan list. If we bring in Chelina, he's just as good as Harvey Barnes was when he went back to Leicester, so this would be a very decent deal, and we'll try and go for 45-55. Pep is absolutely fine. Clearly City have enough to pay the majority of his wages, and they've taken pity on us. So now it is all about whether Bersant Chelina decides to join us. I'm absolutely praying he does, because he would be so good. He'd be a massive improvement to the side. And there it is! Bersant Chelina has decided to join from Manchester City on loan. That is our first signing. Obviously not a permanent one, but it's a big one as far as the season is concerned. He's as good as Da Silva Lopez and becomes the joint best player in the entire squad. Here you can see him then, our new number 17 at the moment, although I don't think he'll keep that number. He'll probably get number 7 potentially. Can play as on both sides of the wing and also as an attacking mid, can the 74 rated player. He is going to be very, very good indeed. You can see some of his attributes here. Very pacey, good balance and agility, decent vision and passing attributes, 81 on his finishing as well, so when he's in good positions to score, he will score, or hopefully will anyway. As I mentioned, good dribbling, long shots, and also free kick accuracy as well. Time now to look at a second player, and we're trying to pull out all the bargains here, as we have done for this entire series. We've got Chelina on loan, and now we're looking at this man here, a regen from the free agents list known as Davide Felicioli. Regardless of that, he's 70 rated. He's only 20 years of age as well, so roughly about what we saw with Kelvin Smith. In terms of wages, it said the recommended one is 7.9, so if we counter that a little bit and go for 6.5. As you can see, this is the agreement that we've come to for young Davide Felicioli, the Italian free agent. 6.9k in wages, 80k signing bonus, and a further bonus of 36.5k if he makes 5 appearances. That's not too bad given we've got quite a lot of money at the moment, so we're going to go ahead and accept that one. And we make our second signing of season number 3. Again, not a huge one, but it's definitely a financially savvy one, to be honest with you. So here is our second signing of the transfer window. A pretty bog standard defensive midfielder, not exactly massively exciting, doesn't have good skill moves or weak foot, but he's just a solid defensive mid. So he's got good pace and physicals. His physicals page is absolutely ridiculous, actually. First game of the season has arrived. We're a little bit injury depleted, so no Bolger and Dozzell, obviously, but we're simming at home against Fulham. This is not going to be the final side that we use for this season. We haven't made all of our signings yet. We still need an attacking mid, a striker, and a centre-back, so by no means will this be definitive of how the season will go, but we still managed to win 1-0. Time to try and make signing number 3 of this season so far, and we're meeting up with another high-profile manager. This time it's Jose Mourinho, for you guessed it, another loan signing. Axel Tuanzebe is the man we're going to try and bring in this time from Manchester United. The 21-year-old will hopefully be a little bit better than Florence by now, something like 72 or 73. Don't worry guys, we will actually spend some money at some point during this transfer window, but for now we're just trying to be as savvy as we possibly can. 60-40 is not what I'm feeling, so we're going to try 50-50 with Manchester United. Jose Mourinho is absolutely fine with that, which would mean we'd pay 33.5k if Tuanzebe agrees. Signing number 3 made, and we still haven't spent a single penny. Axel Tuanzebe has joined from Manchester United on a 1-year loan deal. Oh goodness gracious me, Axel Tuanzebe, 76 rated. This side is becoming more and more illegal as we pass through the weeks of this transfer window. We've spent £0, we've improved this side exponentially both with training and with the signings too. And in terms of his attributes, you can see him here, decent pace and strength for him, 73 on his jumping too. His defensive stats are also very good, and his passing is good as well, because obviously he can play as a holding midfielder. Fourth signing of the transfer window is hopefully about to happen. Sam Walker has been on our shortlist for a while as a backup goalkeeper from Colchester. Now that Roy Carroll has retired and Nikola Tsarnaev has been sold, we actually need a second goalkeeper in the side because Walton is all we have. So we're going to go in for the 27-year-old goalkeeper. They're sticking to their price tag. Okay, well, I tell you what, I'm still going to meet you in the middle. So we're going to offer 550k then for Sam Walker here. Hopefully submit that. We'll accept it. They are happy with that. Good-o. Right, so now we just need to go into contract negotiations with him. We'll delegate it. So as you can see, Sam Walker has decided to join. We delegated that contract renewal or that contract negotiation over to our assistant manager, and he's been able to strike a deal for the Colchester goalkeeper. He's 27, he's 66 rating. He's not exactly going to be, you know, a high-profile player in this series, but he's the Roy Carroll, basically, and we could use him as maybe a third choice when we get into the Premier League. So as of yet, we've not spent all that much, only about, what, 500k on Sam Walker as a backup goalkeeper. That is about to change, and it's going to make one person very happy indeed, because the same person has been commenting that I should sign this man since the start of the series. Well, finally, we're going to make it happen. Fakamani Malambi is the South African attacking midfielder who doesn't have a team at the start of the game, so he's randomly distributed, and in this sense he's gone to CSKA Moscow. He's very good, 75 rated, 21 years of age, got a very good potential. His value is between 12 mil and 16.5 mil according to our chief exec, but he has a release clause of 4.25 million. And if that is not the biggest bargain of the century, then I don't know what is. He can also play as a winger and a centre forward. So this has got, I mean, it's not the most realistic signing. We're signing a player who plays in Russia who's from South Africa. This guy, though, is very good. I cannot pass up this opportunity purely because it's slightly unrealistic. And we're going to go ahead and match that release clause and then go straight into negotiations with the player. The start of the wage offer is quite low. I mean, he's on 27k at his current club, and then we'll go no higher than, I mean, we can afford to pay quite a bit, so let's go no higher than 43 and an advance on that one. So as you can see, Mani Malambi has decided to join AFC Wimbledon. I'm going to call him Mani instead of Fakamani because it's just more simple. But he's agreed to a crucial first-team player, 3-year contract length and 28.5k in wages. So we're going to go ahead and accept that, and Mani Malambi will be our, what, 5th signing now of this transfer window. After, obviously, as you can see, we brought in Sam Walker as a backup goalkeeper, Felicioli as a backup defensive mid from the free agents list, Bersanchelina on loan, and Axel Tuanzebe on loan. Now we're about to break our transfer record in this series as we welcome Mani Malambi from CSKA Moscow, the South African attacking midfielder. Would you believe at that overall and that age is about to join for £4.25 million? He's worth 16 mil and we've just got him for that. Unreal scenes. So here he is. Mani Mallambi is our newest signing and our new record signing in terms of fee. That might well be smashed later on in this episode. We'll have to wait and see. Here you can see, I mean, his pace is ridiculous. 93 acceleration, 88 sprint speed, 81 balance. Good vision on this guy as well. His passing stats are pretty decent. So looking forward to getting this guy in the side and actually using him in this save, and thank you to everyone who suggested him. He's finally at the club. Right, so it's time to look at one final player in this transfer window, and it is a striker. I think that's the one final thing we need to do. It's a shame because I want to be able to play Lyle Taylor in every single game, and once we get to the Premier League, we still will play him on a semi-regular basis, but he's not really good enough in Sims, I don't think. So we're choosing a man who is currently still at his normal side on this version of the save. He's playing for Midtjylland. It's Alexander Sorloth, but of course in real life he's now just signed for Crystal Palace, where he did that in January. So I want to say it's not too unrealistic. Obviously, it's from a different league, and I realise, you know, as a championship club, I shouldn't be signing a ridiculous amount of players from foreign leagues. I should be mainly signing players from England, but because Sorloth has just signed for a side in England, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. So there we go. Midtjylland have eventually bowed down to our negotiations, and we've agreed a fee for Alexander Sorloth of £5.4 million. So hopefully we can now go ahead with him and agree a contract. So we're going to delegate this contract negotiation, and we're going to start off with what his current... we'll start off just below what his current wage is actually. So we'll go for 20.5, and then don't go any higher than 28, which is a little bit higher than what he's on now. So we'll go ahead and offer that one. So there we go. There you have it. Alexander Sorloth is hopefully going to be a Wimbledon player now. Important first team player as a squad role. 3-year contract length and 24k in wages. Once again, of course, delegating this to make sure that we don't have to pay much in bonuses, or anything at all, in fact, in bonuses. So that is going to be our 6th and final transfer of this window, and in my opinion it's been a very successful one. We've spent a decent amount of money, in all honesty, and we've broken our transfer record twice in a row. First of all with Mallambi, and then now with Alexander Sorloth as well. Hopefully he lives up to the price tag. So here is your new Norwegian striker. We're building up quite the roster of Scandinavian forwards at the moment, having joined Erling Haaland and Joel Azoro at the club. Alexander Sorloth is our newest recruit, 73 rated, 6'4". He's absolutely massive, and we take a look at his attributes, and he's pacey and strong. 74 stamina, but 86 sprint speed, 82 acceleration, and 89 strength. This guy is going to be an absolute animal up top. If you're wondering about the numbers, I will alter them to make them a little bit more, well, just better. I wouldn't want Sorloth to be 22, it wouldn't really make much sense. So yeah, we'll change some of the numbers around. I won't show you that, but I will, however, show you what the squad is now looking in its best shape, or in its entirety, I suppose. So Walton, 73 rated in goal, Dale Fry at 75, Oshaladra at 73, and Florence at 71. In defensive mid, we've got Tuanzebe at 76 and Smith at 73. Once Dozel returns, we will swap him in for Florence, and then Tuanzebe will go back to centre-back. And then our wingers, both 75 rated in the form of Chalina and Da Silva Lopez. Mallambi is also 75, and then we've got Sorloth now 73 rated, and Azoro at 74 up top. And even on the bench, we've now got 70 rated players on the bench. And there is our new club record signing in the press conference. Alexander Sorloth makes his move to Wimbledon for £5.4 million. In terms of players coming in, you can see we've brought in Axel Tuanzebe and Bersant Chalina from United and Manchester City respectively, both of those guys in on loan. And then Davide Felicioli came in, the Italian holding midfielder from the free agents list, like Kelvin Smith last year. Alexander Sorloth is our new club record signing, having joined from Midtjylland. Sam Walker also joined as a backup goalkeeper from Colchester for just over £500,000, and £4.2 million was enough for the South African wonder kid Mallambi coming in from CSK Moscow. We also had to buy this Murray kid from an Irish side for £25 million to sort out the budget for this season. As you can see, in terms of players going out, Seth Owens was sold to Yeovil for 270k, Neshet Belikli went to Crew Alexandra, Anthony Hartigan has gone on loan to Barnet, Nicolas Sarnev has also gone to Port Vale, that was 145k, and Rory McKenzie started the transfer window off for us by leaving to go to QPR. So as you can see, we are now into October of 2019, so we've simmed through obviously the transfer window and then done a month of just the normal league season. Now, In our first game, we actually won against Fulham. You'll have seen that. We progressed past Rochdale in the Carabao Cup. Unfortunately, we then went out against Swansea a little bit later on. Drew against QPR, lost against Wolves, beat Cardiff and beat Bolton at the end of August. September was a bit of an on and off month. We drew against Derby, we drew against Preston, we beat Sheffield Wednesday, but then we lost to Norwich. So at the moment, as far as the table is concerned, it's not looking amazing. I'll show you that in a second. Here you can see we're actually 9th in the league, but in terms of points, we're only 3 points off 3rd place. Next game here in the league is up against Birmingham at home, and Birmingham are currently 2nd in the league, so they have a good squad. This is real tough challenges, really, as far as our side is concerned. If we come out on top here, then we've got to imagine our side is one of the strongest in the league. Personally, I feel like it is, but obviously Birmingham have a good team as well. Can we hold on to the win? We do indeed, and we actually strengthen it because Joel Azoro, I imagine, scores on the counter-attack at the end, and we beat 2nd place in the league 3-1. So we've now simmed all the way through October. This is kind of the final month that we'll sim through in this format, and then after that you'll actually start seeing me simming the games and seeing me playing some games. In October, we actually managed to beat Birmingham, as you saw, 3-1. They were 2nd in the league at the time and still are. We then went on to beat Bradford 1-0 away, drew against Brentford at home, who are another playoff candidate, and then we beat Scunthorpe away with a 2-0 win. We are now 3rd in the league, so we're doing very well just on simming alone. Don't forget, we haven't even started playing games yet. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is how the squad is looking. It is absolutely unreal. I can't remember what these ratings were when you last saw them, but some of these guys have gone up ridiculously, either through training or just on their own. Youth Academy-wise, though, Toby Brown is up to 66, and he's still 16 years old. Like, this guy is going to be special. Lorenzo Visser as well is growing nicely. Morgan Shaw too. Those guys should both be 70 as well by the end of the season. So we go into this next game of the season against Sheffield United at home at the start of November with pretty much our strongest side. The likes of Dozel and Oshalaja are back from their injuries. Obviously, I haven't seen a sim like this in a while, or not too many of them in this season. Worth noting as well that George Long is playing against us. The man we had in season number 1 of this career mode save was on loan from the Blades. He's now a starter for Sheffield United. Fortunately for us, he's conceded twice. Malambi and Azoro have scored past him. You can see just how good this side is now in comparison to the one from last year. Now winning 3-0 and another set of 2 goals for Malambi, and Goyen comes off the bench to make it 4 before a late consolation from someone on our shortlist, actually, Brooks, the Welshman. And that takes us nicely into our first played game of this season-long episode. We're against top of the table Middlesbrough away from home. Realistically, we have a very good squad, but it would be very difficult to win this in a sim, so I'm going to try and play it and get the 3 points that way. So we're at the Riverside then for this one. I believe this is our 15th game of the league season. It is indeed. That was a good guess. We're 5 points behind league leaders Middlesbrough here going into this one, but we're firmly in the playoff places, and we've had a very good season, and we're in a very good vein of form right now. Middlesbrough we actually played in that final episode of season number 2. Oh my god, this Malambi guy. Wow, he is pacey and has very good dribbling. Oshalaja brings the ball away. We are pinning Middlesbrough in their own half at the moment, and this is Joel Azoro with the shot. But again, Ripley is there. We've put the ball straight into his hands 3 or 4 times now, but Joel Azoro is running in behind. Joel Azoro will get on the end of this. This could well be 1-0 here to Wimbledon. He plays it across for Sorloth, and that is 1-0. It's a pretty grim goal, if I'm going to be brutally honest with you, but it's a goal nonetheless. Could have gone it alone with Joel Azoro, to be honest with you, but once I cut back and Fabio left his man, or Raphael, or whoever it is, Alexander Sorloth was obviously the easy option. Kelvin Smith is an absolute animal, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to lie to you, he absolutely is. This is Bersant Chelina with the long shot. It's blocked there and almost fell to Sorloth. Chelina down the line again. Joel Azoro will cut inside. Goes alone this time, but it's high and wide from the Swede. That's the end of your first half. One that we've absolutely dominated. I'm not going to lie to you. This squad is absolutely ridiculous. Middlesbrough chucking everything forward now, and they're leaving gaps in behind. Sorloth now through to Da Silva Lopez to finish it off, but it's saved by Ripley and cleared by Fabio. Now here come Middlesbrough with Gibson. Oh, good interception there by Oshalaja. Oh, Oshalaja's given that one away though, and that's through to Braithwaite. It's a stupid mistake from me. It's my own fault. It's fully my own fault. Braithwaite has equalised. Should have just got that one clear, but I tried playing it back with Oshalaja. Dale Fry wins that in the air. This is now Da Silva Lopez. Bolger through there to Alexander Sorloth, and what a save from Ripley from from the first time shot. Taylor's offside, which is unfortunate. And that is the end. 1-1 draw. It should have been a win. My mistake really in playing it out. Our dominant performance in that game, though, is a massive positive. It shows just how much the squad has improved. Sorloth was the man of the match after getting our goal. 8.1s as well for Azora and Malambi, who in my opinion was our best player overall. Okay, so we've arrived now in December. All of these games in this month I'll either play or I'll show you the actual sim game for. I think we'll only play one game though in the month, and then I'll show you the sims for the other one. But you can see that after the month of December, we're actually joint top of the table with the best goal difference because we scored the most amount of goals in the league. Ahead of Middlesbrough and Birmingham, also joint on 38. We've had a very good month in November, winning all of our sims. 4-1 against Sheffield United, then grabbed a 3-1 victory against Hull, a 2-0 win away against Leeds, which was quite a surprise actually, and a 2-1 victory with a weakened side against Reading because Dale Fry is now out injured for 2 months. So a bit of an injury concern there, but he's the only person out. Now we go into this one against Aston Villa, traditionally a very difficult side to face in the Championship, but they've lost their last 2 games, including a 3-0 loss against Bolton. So Shalina's managed to get us the goal that starts the scoring from the penalty spot inside 21 minutes. Villa are now down to 10 men as well, with Chester getting a straight red card on the half-an-hour mark, but it hasn't stopped Villa equalising. However, Malambi again. Every time we've seen a sim so far, the South African has scored. He's grabbed another to give us a 2-1 lead. Can we hold on to it? Indeed we do. It's another 3 points. Into the Sunderland game now. We're at home in this one, and again a little bit of fluctuation in the side. I'm just trying to find it. It's quite difficult to keep people happy when you're simming games because you've got to be playing a strong side every time. Joel Azoro has actually managed to score against his old side, but Greenwood has equalised for Sunderland. Youngster Toby Brown has come off the bench to replace Nzuzi Toko, and it's maybe helped Chelina give us a goal to put us back in the lead, and it is in fact the winning goal. Our win record right now is actually 7 wins in a row, so 2 more and we'll actually level that, 3 more and we'll set a new record. A chance for us to now win our 6th game in a row as we face relegation candidates Wigan Athletic. Again, a couple of changes. Felicioli and Ngoyen are in for this game. Just wanting to make sure I'm keeping as many people happy. And Joel Azoro is going to be quite happy. He's grabbed another goal, 2 in a row if you like. He grabbed a goal against Sunderland. He's got another one here against Wigan Athletic. Burgess, however, has equalised for the Latics, and we've got 5 minutes to try and better that record. But unfortunately, it is a draw. Time for another sim then. Disappointing draw against Wigan, mainly because it meant that we couldn't beat our win streak record. But we go into this one against Barnsley at home. Christian Walton with an injury means we might have to call upon the services of Sam Walker. We did win that one 4-0 though, so a very comfortable win there over Barnsley after Chelina grabbed one late on. Thankfully for us, Christian Walton only picked up a 3-day injury. I think he will be missing from the next football match, but he won't be gone after that. Our recent form means we're now 7 points clear of 3rd place Birmingham, so we are in a very good position, fighting for the title obviously with Middlesbrough. We're currently level on points, but also just to get automatic promotion generally speaking. We now approach a game away from home against Bristol City. Flint, who was so good against us when we played Bristol City last year as a defender, has only gone and scored against us now in a sim, and it does in fact end 2-0. It's the day before the transfer window in January starts, and I've got another game for you all. We are up against Sunderland away from home at the Stadium of Light, and you can see the squad here in the background. It's an opportunity again to play some different players because we're playing this one. So Darius Charles, Sam Walker, Aaron Bolger, and Tokmak Ngoyen, the Norwegian winger. We haven't really seen all that much of, but seems as if he'll be a good player and has played well in sims. We are obviously quite clear at the moment of the guys in sort of the playoff places, so not too much riding on this result even still. It's not going to stop Sorloth running straight through on goal. It's saved there, but De Silva Lopez prods it in. Unfortunately for him, he is offside. Playing against someone on our shortlist at the moment, Connor Chaplin, the ex-Portsmouth striker, has signed for Sunderland in this save, so we'll be interested to see how he does. Meanwhile, we're through again now with Malambi, again a save from the goalkeeper, and again we should be leading, but we are. Massive mix-up on the line. Malambi has got the cheek to claim it, but what are Sunderland doing? We've seen 3 goals in total in this episode so far, and they've all been absolutely cataclysmic. What in the world? It's going to go down as a Gillaboggione goal. He celebrates it as if it's a real goal. I mean, the goalkeeper's tried to parry it off the post. It's hit Gillaboggi and gone in. It's all off there into Azoro against his old side, and he almost blasts in a long-range goal Reuter, I suppose to an extent, recovers from the defensive howler. It's over to Toki. Okay, that's confusing me, sorry. It was a great touch from Nguyen, but why is he known as Toki? Is he the Toki that we played against in Season 1? Have we actually signed the meme that we created in the first season of this save without even realising? Regardless of that, Malambi's clean through, and Malambi has slammed it in. Oh my word, we've seen some awful goals in this episode, but that's a finish and a half from Mani Malambi, the South African. Smith plays through the perfect through ball, and he's just smacked it in off the crossbar. Has the goalkeeper got a touch to it as well? A tiny fingertip, but it didn't really change the outcome. Gonna try and aim here for Kelvin Smith. It'll go to Azoro, though instead, and Azoro got his head on it. De Silva Lopez, Sorloth. This is now to Malambi again, I think it was. Smith's won that in the air, through to De Silva Lopez, and it should have been 3. Smith wins it again. It's back to De Silva Lopez again. It's still De Silva Lopez. He goes down. Should have won a penalty because Catamol didn't get the ball. Here comes Malambi once again. It's Mani Malambi. What a goal from Mani Malambi. This kid is actually a joke. This kid is a joke. This kid is an absolute joke. Mani Malambi scores once again. He's not closed down, and if you don't close him down, this is what happens. He's my new favourite player. De Silva Lopez and Oshala just step aside. Malambi's the new man, I'm very sorry to inform you all. It's a good job, actually, we managed to get the lead in that first half, because Sunderland have actually been so much more resolute in the second, which is really odd. And there ends your game against Sunderland. Pretty quiet second half in comparison to the first. Couple of chances here and there, but a 3-0 victory and a very commanding performance. Here's your ratings. Malambi man of the match, unsurprisingly, with a 9.5, but Kelvin Smith, equally incredible, 9.4 for him too. So we have arrived at the January transfer window, and this is how the league is looking at the halfway stage of the season. Well, actually, just after the halfway stage of the season. Middlesbrough's still top, and look, almost unbeatable. They've obviously lost twice, so that's literally theoretically wrong. However, they just don't drop points. Like, since I last saw you, they've dropped like 2 points. Slight issue here. We've got two issues, actually, because we're in January and we've got 2 players that can leave on pre-contracts that I particularly care about. Deji Oshalaja is one of them. The other is Lyle Taylor. We offered Lyle Taylor a contract. He accepted it, but it hasn't counted. He's still only got 6 months left. Because we delegated the renewal, but he's still... I don't understand. I literally agreed on a 2-year contract with him, and it hasn't... And I now can't negotiate again with him because we've just given him a new... What is this? It also won't let me deal with Deji Oshalaja, even though he rejected my first contract about 2 months ago in game. So apart from praying for miracles in the shape of Deji Oshalaja and Lyle Taylor, we're going to be trying to pull off a couple of pre-contract agreements of our own in this window. Aston Villa at home in the league next in terms of game action. Still goalless inside the first half an hour of this one. Alexander Sorloth gets a yellow card, but Malambi scores again, only for the goal to be cancelled out by Conor Hurahan. Andre Dozzell has given us the lead back on the 58th minute of this game, but it is still very much a close one, and we grab another 3 points against the team in claret and blue. You'll be happy to know at this point, Deji Oshalaja has now decided to actually sign a contract with the club. Finally, he was willing to go back into renegotiations, and we've given him a wage of 7.5k. Unfortunately, the situation with Lyle Taylor still hasn't been resolved. It still says contract offer accepted, and it still hasn't actually added the years onto his contract length. It's very frustrating because it's going to be very difficult to not get any offers for him between now and the end of the season. Yet another game in the league, and this one comes against Reading away from home. This was just 2 days after the Villa game, so fatigue is massive, and there's quite a lot of changes, including Felicioli and Goyen and Erling Haaland coming into the side, so it's not our strongest team. That might be why Clement has given Reading the lead. Unfortunately, it is a 2-1 loss. Clement gets himself a brace. Up against Sheffield United now in an FA Cup tie, and according to the recent results, they did us a favour by beating Birmingham. I don't know if that's in the league or in cup tournaments, but hopefully it's in the league. Chelina scores from the penalty spot once again in a sim, and we win it 4-1. We're into the next round of the FA Cup. Leeds are next up in our championship campaign. Going into this one in good form as well. I think they're challenging for the playoffs at the moment. We're only 4 points clear of those playoff places, and it might be even closer now because we've lost 2-0 at home to Leeds United. Michael Hector was someone that I was looking at as a centre-back going into the new season, potentially in the Premier League when it comes to pre-contract agreements. The Hull City defender from Jamaica is only on 10k in wages, so we're going to approach to sign him. We should have quite a lot left over, and to be honest with you, I don't have anyone else to sign on a pre-contract agreement right now. 12k in wages with a couple of bonuses. That is fine. That is fine. It would still leave us with 30k wages left over if we did want to do another pre-contract agreement, but I will counter just a little bit though, and I'm actually going to remove the appearance bonus. Nobody wants 14k. Oh yeah, to be fair, I forgot. You physically cannot negotiate, can you, in contract negotiations? Brilliant, fine. We'll just accept that. So Michael Hector should be joining then from Hull City on a pre-contract agreement. He's 75 rated as a centre-back and has potential to grow by a further 2, so he will be very useful when we get to the Prem. That looks as if he'll be our one and only signing of this January transfer window, and he will improve the side quite heavily in defence as well once Tuanzebe goes back, although I might try and sign Axel Tuanzebe on an actual permanent deal. So ironically, after nabbing one of their centre-backs, we're now going to be playing Hull City away from home in the league. Michael Hector might be playing, but he's going to be a Wimbledon player from next season onwards. Let's hope for a good result. It's a 0-0 draw, which isn't too bad. The one concern is that injury that's been picked up by Joel Azoro. It's all well and good, boys. Pulled hamstring. He's only out for 7 days. The timing, however, isn't ideal on that injury because we're now got a top-of-the-table clash up against Middlesbrough at home, though, thankfully. Obviously, we drew with them in the first played game of this episode. Hopefully, we can somehow nab a win. And in fact, we do. Malambi scores again. Tuanzebe, though, gets the goal that kept us in front of Middlesbrough despite a late scare from Desar. And we close up to the league leaders by 3 points. Crucial win there. Now, I know I said earlier when we signed Michael Hector that might well be our final business of the window. Well, I may well have lied because I found this man here, Jack Harrison, who's been on my shortlist for a while, and I was just having a scan through it sort of casually, realised his contract is actually expiring at the end of the season. He has a release clause anyway, but we can actually approach to sign him on a pre-contract agreement. And he's 75 rated and 23 years of age as a winger. It would probably mean we wouldn't actually have to bring in anyone to replace Bersant Chelina next season, because this guy could come over from America and do it. Obviously, he is English, but playing for New York City, sorry. We're going to do it in terms of negotiations. To be honest with you, just because I don't want to mess it up with a delegation and it take too long, because we're on deadline day right now, with 10 hours left to go. Because he's a 75 rated player, we're going to offer 200k as a signing bonus, which I think is still pretty minimal, but 14k in wages, which is double what he's on now, or just under double, so that might sway him, even though the bonus is quite low. We're going to try and submit that one, and they are absolutely fine with that. So Jack Harrison is going to come in from New York City. Let me try and find him again. Where is he? I've lost him. Here he is, Jack Harrison, the 23-year-old from New York City. That's going to be a huge signing for next season. That's 2 75 rated players coming into the side for hopefully our first Premier League campaign, and both of them for free. Jack Harrison and Michael Hector on pre-contract agreements. Both, in my opinion, very decent, very, very decent signings. Attributes-wise, I'll show you Jack Harrison now, and then we'll take a look as well at Michael Hector whilst we're at it. 95 acceleration on this kid, 85 sprint speed, and 86 agility are his best physicals. 83 dribbling, good ball control, crossing, and his finishing isn't too bad as well. A couple of traits there as well. And whilst we're at it, here is Michael Hector, the man that can play as a centre-back and also at CDM. To be honest with you, we may not really need him all that much. He might be more of a depth guy, especially once we potentially sign back to Tuanzebe and once Kelvin Smith has reached a very good overall, but he's still very good to have around as, you know, a 75 rated backup player. That would be absolutely insane. So January is completed, and as has been the case with all the January transfer windows in this series so far, it's been an extremely fruitful one, bringing in Jack Harrison and Michael Hector, both on pre-contract agreements, and both of them will really improve the squad again next season.
Oh my holy shit, ladies and gentlemen, what in the Christ?
We've done a madness! We've done an absolute madness against Chelsea. How on earth have we done this in the FA Cup? I'm still simming through February. I've not been like, I'll show you how the month's gone properly in a minute. Spoiler alert, it's gone brilliantly. We've actually managed to beat Chelsea in a sim. In a sim, 2-1, Chelina and De Silva Lopez, we were up 2-0. That's actually insane. This team continues to amaze me. So we're now done with February. It was a completely bumper-packed month. You saw one of the results already, but I'll guide you through the rest of what was an unbelievable month overall. Cardiff was the first game in an FA Cup tie we drew, which forced it to a replay. Spoiler alert, you've seen the Chelsea result already. We obviously won that replay against Cardiff, which set up the game against Chelsea in the round of 16, which we somehow won against the English Giants 2-1. So we're now into the quarterfinals of that cup competition, In the league, however, QPR we won 2-1 in our first game in the month. We then beat Fulham away, very good result there, 1-0. Drew away from home against Derby, which again is another pretty solid result. Slightly second string side after that Chelsea game against Bolton, lost 2-0, but a huge win away from home against third place Birmingham means we've now got a 7-point lead over the playoff places. However, we are still second in the league overall. Now, we have a chance to get into the semi-finals of the FA Cup here as we face Brentford at home in the quarters. We're coming off the back of that heroic victory against Chelsea, and we have our strongest lineup for this one. In theory, we should win, but Brentford are in the playoffs. Goalless first 45, and right at the end of the first half, Chelina misses a penalty. That might prove to be vital as Sawyers and Ollie Watkins come on for Brentford. And, well, it doesn't. It's going to go to extra time and maybe even penalties as we're now into the second half of extra time. Still goalless in this one. Not exactly a classic, but Ollie Watkins in the 119th minute gets Brentford a goal. And the quarterfinals is still as far as we've ever got in cup competition. I mean, it's not bad for a championship side, but gut-wrenching to beat Chelsea 2-1 in a sim and then lose in the final minute of extra time to an Ollie Watkins goal for Brentford. He's actually someone that I've got on my shortlist that I was thinking of signing at some point. So next up is Sheffield United here away from home. Most of the main guys are back in the side, but it's a slightly makeshift defence with Darius Charles and Smith there. Chelina's missed a penalty in the opening minute of the game, and unfortunately it has cost us. 2-1 loss to Sheffield United. However, Toby Brown gets himself a goal off the bench. So the first goal for our best youth academy player to date. He's already 69, he's been massively impressive this season, and now he's got his first goal for the club. Next up here is a sim against strugglers Scunthorpe. They are right down towards the bottom of the table as their form would suggest, and we're playing pretty much our strongest side. It should be an easy win, and indeed it is. 4-0. A goal there for Azoro, two goals actually for Azoro, a goal for Chelina, another goal for Toby Brown, who already claimed the youngest goal scorer record in this series earlier, just a game ago. That's 2-2 now, I think, for him. Bit of an unfamiliar sight, though, in this episode at this point, because we're playing a game, and it's the penultimate game we're going to play all season. The only other one will be the final game. Opportunity here for Malambe to hit one from range very early on, and it's saved by Bentley. Brilliant stop from the Brentford man. Toki will put it into the box. It's towards Felicioli getting on the end of it. The Italian holding midfielder, who we're seeing for the first time in this series right now, able to get it on target, but only into the hands of Bentley. This is the first time we're seeing the Italian free agent, and to be honest with you, I was sort of tempted to just sell him for a profit in the next window, but first 7 or 8 minutes of action in a Wimbledon shirt, he actually looks alright. Here's Rico Henry, that's inside now for Weber. Good turn there from Lasse Weber into Nico Yanaris, and that is a brilliant goal from Brentford, and Nico Yanaris, the defensive midfielder from Brentford, and the captain setting by example. It's just a good goal. The turn there from Weber really setting it up, and no one could really close his man down. And we're 1 goal down for the first time in this season in terms of played games, and Brentford, having played so well, actually probably deserve it. I'm not going to lie to you. Azoro, Lyle Taylor needs a run. He's got a run. It's from Marnie Malambe, and it should be a goal, but it's saved by Bentley. Now Javinho goes past his man, and again, lovely back heel now into Woods. We're struggling to deal with this attack. Woods there has his shot blocked. Bolger just about gets it away under pressure. De Silva Lopez, though, can't get on the end of the through ball, and we're being trapped in our own half. Javinho passing it quickly into Woods. He goes past his man too easily. This is McEachran now, who's brought down by Bolger. And we had it coming. We were panicking there in that defensive play. Bolger's given away the penalty. Javinho, and he sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, and it is 2-0 to Brentford. It's not looking great, I can't lie to you. They are actually playing so well as Canos gets absolutely destroyed by Oshalage, but still gets up in time. McEachran now into Woods, saved by Walton. I wonder if this is the new Legendary. Because you know how you get to a point and like how good your team is and Legendary starts playing better? I wonder if we've reached that point. As McEachran finds Canos and hits the crossbar. Goodness, yeah, we've found the new AI, haven't we? This is the actual, like, Legendary AI for when your team is better than the opposition. Oh, great ball there through to Joel Azoro, and he needed to score that. It's such a tame effort. with the amount of power I put on that from Joel Azoro. Here comes Watkins down the right here for Brentford. Decent ball in. Walton should deal with it. Absolutely doesn't. It's gonna fall for Weber, and thankfully he misses. Walton might be 76 overall, but he seems the same old Walton when it comes to claiming crosses. It's really, really poor. Late free kick here for Brentford to try and make it 3-0 in this one, and they might well do, as it falls kindly for Hepham. Bounces off Felicioli, and that is that. 3-0. Visser there. That's into Toby Brown to try and get one back. Saved by Bentley. Taylor puts it into orbit. Sums up the game, really, and sums up his game. We've lost 3-0. That's probably our heaviest defeat of the series. So we've simmed now to the end of April, and there's just 2 games of the season to go, and our promotion isn't in a fine balance, but obviously it's looking very, very likely. It does depend on a fine balance, though, and that's that Birmingham City win their game in hand. Otherwise, we will, in fact, be promoted, and even then we need to lose both of our final 2 games of the season, which is possible in fairness, but Middlesbrough just 2 points behind us in the battle for the league. We face Sheffield Wednesday and 6th placed Preston in the final 2 games of the season. Sheffield Wednesday are down in P20. Hang on, you'll have all seen the for God's sake, you'll have all seen the rating that Lyle Taylor was at last time, right? How is he back down to 67? Ah, you've got to be taking the piss. You've got to be having me on. Is that because we trained him? Is that because we trained him beyond his potential and now he's reached a certain age, so he has to go down back to where he should be? So we face Sheffield Wednesday, a win here, and we are promoted into the Premier League. A win and a failure to win from Middlesbrough, and we are championship champions. So half an hour gone and it is still goalless. Don't forget, a loss here and we can still not get promoted, but it depends on what Birmingham do. An hour gone and it's still 0-0 as Visser comes on for Alex Sorloth. It looks as if it's going to go to the end, and it's going to be goalless. 0-0 is the final score. Now, obviously, we can still get promoted with that. If Birmingham don't win the game, I think we still get promoted because they need, they need to have won. And they didn't, so we are still promoted, and Middlesbrough lost. So we've got a 3-point gap over Middlesbrough. It's not done, but I mean, look at the goal difference swing. It's literally done. We can play this final game of the season without a care in the world. It's not mathematically done though, so we should still get the trophy celebration, but because Birmingham didn't win, even though they've got that game in hand, they're 9 points behind us and they can only grab 6. So we are effective, not quite mathematical, but effective champions of the league. We are getting promoted to the Premier League as champions here in England's second tier, and you should be seeing the trophy being lifted in the final game of the season against Preston. So this is it. Hopefully it's just going to be a procession, it's going to be a trophy parade, because we are at home against Preston and they need to beat us by 12 goals to lose the title here. It's a big ask, to be honest with you, and that does rely on Middlesbrough winning as well. If they don't win the game, we are guaranteed to win the league. So that's how things stand at the moment, and you can see the squad there in the background. Toby Brown once again is starting. He has been the absolute breakthrough star in this season by a distance, without a shadow of a doubt. He has been absolutely insane, though Malambi is obviously player of the year so far. If you're wondering why Liam Trotter's starting this one, it might well be the final game you see of him, because I think we're probably going to sell him once we get into the Premier League, and he has been an absolute legend in this series. I've really liked him. It's the final game of the championship season, and it's an opportunity for us to win our first piece of silverware in this series. I think we won a pre-season tournament before. We haven't actually won a proper trophy. So let's get things underway then. It's Wimbledon versus Preston. This is obviously a very important game for Preston as well, actually, because it could see them in the playoff places. Smith there, back into Malambi again, who can try and turn. Malambi's got the space, and Malambi almost finds the back of the net, if not for a great save from the Preston goalkeeper. Great ball down the line there for Barkhausen. Ball in, should be dealt with by Walton. Again, probably could have claimed, but decided to punch. Did well though this time. Azoro there with a horror touch, but he's still on the ball somehow. Still Joel Azoro going. Can try and find Sorloth through the middle. It's Alex Sorloth, and it's saved by Maxwell. That really should have been a goal, and what a run it was from Joel Azoro as well. Brilliant stuff from the Swede. Here is Malambi bursting through. Azoro. That's now into Toby Brown, and it was a decent enough effort from the Youth Academy player. Just a little bit too high. He definitely looks as if he's the future, really, of this Wimbledon side, but he couldn't keep that shot down. Trotter there down the line for Malambi. Again down the line now for Toby Brown. Might try and bring it back into Malambi. He actually has done. It's cut back for Joel Azoro, and again, An unreal reaction save. That one is just an unbelievable save rather than a poor finish. Half-time then, 0-0, halfway now towards winning the title in this final game of the season. Even this result, even if Middlesbrough somehow won 12-0, would still be enough for us to win the league because we're not losing. We could easily have been 2, maybe even 3-0 up in that first half. Got to try and just keep the momentum going with Joel Azoro. Oh, that's one way to do it. That is one way to win a title. Joel Azoro with an absolute thunderbolt into the far corner after just a minute and a half of the first half, as a second half even. What a goal. It's the outside of the boot as well. That is unreal from Joel Azoro. What a finish from the Swede. Maxwell's been incredible all game, but he had no chance with that one. One more and he at least shares the golden boot with the man at the other end of the pitch, Hugel for Preston. My word, what a finish, what a goal from Joel Azoro. And if we win the league and we win the title with that goal, then I will be very happy indeed. Morgan here has got the beating of Dale Fry. Might try and cut that one back. No, goes for the shot instead. That was by far the wrong option. There was plenty of Preston players up with him for that attack there. Chalina's got a bit of space over here. Back to Malambi again. This is now Alexander Sorloth. And it's another thunderbolt into the far corner. This time it's from the other striker. Alex Sorloth gets his name on the score sheet as well. And it is 2-0. We're beating the unbelievable AI in Legendary. And we're doing it with 2 brilliant goals. Malambi into Sorloth, one touch, left-footed into the bottom corner. Passes it back instead though to Kelvin Smith. That's through to Sorloth. Brilliant turn and almost another goal. And it was Lyle Taylor on the end of it. It probably deserved it. Would have been an assist there for Sorloth to add to the goal he just scored. It's one final change and it's one final goodbye, I reckon, for Liam Trotter, who will hopefully get a standing ovation from the Wimbledon fans in what's probably his final game. He is replaced by the new gen. The old gen replaced by the new, as Dave McCall, Scotsman, comes on for only his second appearance in-game in a Wimbledon shirt. Corner coming in then from Preston. And it's a very, very interesting one. And O'Connor with a horrible bit of control. Almost intercepted by Taylor, but Brown gets it. Back to Brown again. Good effort from Brown, but into the side netting. Moulton there just rolls it out to Oshalaja. Smith, lovely one-touch football. And we find ourselves in the opposition half already. Shaw, Taylor, back to Shaw again. Back to Taylor again. Over towards Toby Brown, and that is 3. Toby Brown scores in a played game, and this kid looks like the real deal. He's 70 rated now, and the 16-year-old grabs yet another goal in a Wimbledon shirt. Finally, we've had a proper breakthrough youth academy graduate. Toby Brown gets a third for Wimbledon. To be fair, another Youth Academy graduate, Morgan Shaw, involved in the goal, passing it to Taylor, who will get the assist. And Brown, first time, just puts it beyond Maxwell. That's been a very difficult task all game. What a way to win our first piece of silverware with a commanding victory and some really, really nice goals to top it off. It has been a perfect performance from Wimbledon. Now we just need to try and keep the clean sheet, and a beautiful challenge from McCall will try and do that. One more chance for Preston by the looks of things. Hugel back into Brown. Ridiculous amount of injury time, but Tuanzebe wins it back regardless. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Are we even going to lift the trophy? We're not even going to lift the trophy. FIFA, come on now. Get a grip. We didn't even win the league in the last game. We're not even going to witness. Oh, there we go. What happened to the celebration? I swear they must have changed it so that it literally ends the game and is a massive anticlimax. Deji Oshalaja is going to get his moment of glory. He's captain Wimbledon for a couple of seasons now, and he finally gets his hands on a piece of silverware as Wimbledon are crowned championship winners for whatever season this is. I think it's 2018-2019 now, maybe even 2019-2020 actually. And we will be making our debut as the new AFC Wimbledon in the Premier League, back where we belong for the first time since 2002, I believe, maybe even 2001 actually, thinking about it. Back to the promised land after 19 years away from the top tier of English football. We're back where we deserve. It's just brilliant to see those guys celebrating, like Deji Oshalaja, who's come literally, he's obviously an original from the series. Lyle Taylor, I think I saw Florence in there as well, and even the guys that we signed right at the start, the likes of Azoro, De Silva Lopez, who have been there from the start. and have just been incredible. What a way to end the season and a way to get into the Premier League. Absolutely unreal performance against Preston there. Malambi is your man of the match, and he was probably our player of the season as well. 9.4. Toby Brown with a 9 rating as well after getting a goal. 9.2 for Azoro, 9.1 for Sorloth. Overall, an incredible performance, an incredible season, and we are back in the promised land. So there you have it, folks. A mammoth episode of AFC Wimbledon Career Mode ends with us winning the championship. We are into the Premier League, into the promised land for the first time in a series, and the first time since AFC Wimbledon were reformed. Middlesbrough will be joining us in automatic promotion, whilst Birmingham, Wolves, Brentford and Preston do survive despite that heavy defeat on the final day of the season to contest in the playoffs. Down on the bottom is Wigan, Bradford and Scunthorpe, who were down there pretty much all season. They are relegated back down into League One. In the background now, you're going to be seeing the Hall of Fame, where all the records and accolades are kept for this series. Plenty have been broken in this episode. It's going to look completely different to what it looked like at the end of Season 2. And you can also vote for your player of the season this time, because obviously we've done a whole season in an episode, so you guys can vote for your player of the season. You know, obviously I labelled it as Malambi, but you guys don't have to vote for Malambi. Obviously that's absolutely fine. If you think Azoro should get it for getting the most goals in the season, that's absolutely fine. But let me know, the top right of the screen is where the vote will be. Now, that is going to be it for this episode. I'm not going to do a roundup of this season. I'm actually going to do that in a separate video of about 10 or 15 minutes, just because I want to properly focus and properly tell you guys really the story of the season, because you didn't see every single game, you didn't see every single goal scorer, and obviously we haven't seen the stats for this season either. So I'll do all of that in a special video, which will probably come out in about 3 or so days. I don't want to do it in this episode because I'll just scan over it and I won't really give you guys any information. So if you've enjoyed this video though, slap a like on it. It's taken me about 8 hours or something to record, but we're finally here. And subscribe, of course, if you're new to the channel and you want to see the rest of this Wimbledon series as we now embark on a Premier League campaign in season number 4. You can also follow me on social media these days too. My Twitter handle and Insta are the same. It's @theofficialfng. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.